I was bullied by Lin Qingyu for 3 whole years and developed depression. Just as my brother and fiancé were about to send her to prison, Lin Qingyu suddenly claimed she had been reborn. She tearfully confessed and apologized to them, saying, "Didn't you say you would love me as long as I was willing to turn back?" That same day, Lin Qingyu was acquitted and released. My brother and fiancé urged me to let it go. Everyone has their moments of immaturity. You shouldn't be unreasonable, no matter what she was like before. She deserves to be loved now. Lin Yu hid behind them, looking at me innocently. "Xiaozong, can you forgive me?" I slapped her expressionlessly. "Sorry, can't forgive. The day I was discharged from the hospital happened to be the day of Lin Qingyu's court hearing. She bullied me for 3 whole years, causing me to develop depression." My brother and my fiancé Xinyu finally gathered enough evidence and took Lin Qingyu to court. When I arrived at the courthouse entrance, Xinyu and my brother were being interviewed. "What would you two like to say to the perpetrator?" Xinyu's cold, heavy gaze pierced through the camera. "Since Miss Lin refuses to bow her head and admit her mistake, I have no choice but to seek justice for my fiancé." Cheers erupted from the surrounding crowd. My fiancé, Xinyu, is the young CEO of a well-known listed company. My brother, Xiachen, is a partner at a top-tier law firm. Everyone believes that Lin Qingyu is finished. The voices supporting me online are almost overwhelmingly one-sided. Xiaozong is so lucky to have her brother and fiancé helping her. Ordinary girls who are bullied have no choice but to endure it in silence. Oppose school bullying. Go Xiaozong. My brother stood by without saying a word. Those cold eyes were fixed on the slowly approaching car. Inside, sitting there, was Lin Qingyu. "Before coming here, the doctor told me, I don't recommend you attend the hearing, because reviewing the case details might trigger your emotions and worsen your depression. So today, my best friend Gianni is attending the hearing on my behalf, and I will be waiting in the courthouse lobby." We avoided the reporters at the front door and entered the hall. We ran into Lin Qingyu. Her once arrogant and beautiful face now looked somewhat panicked. When she saw my brother and Xinyu, tears instantly rolled down her cheeks. "Xiachen, Xinyu, I'm sorry." My brother and Xinyu walked straight through the door without even glancing aside. Before entering, Ginny patted my shoulder and reassured me, "Don't worry, the law won't let any guilty person go unpunished." The door closed, the surroundings fell into silence. Time passed minute by minute, and I anxiously awaited the final verdict. At exactly 11 o'clock, Gianni suddenly pulled open the door and rushed out. Her face was filled with anger. My heart sank, and I stood up in a daze, my voice trembling as I asked, "Gianni, what's wrong?" Gianni opened her mouth. "Your brother." And Xinyu, seeing her disappointed expression, I rushed toward the door. Turning the corner, I saw Xinyu and my brother sandwiching the petite Lin Qingyu between them. With an equally gloomy expression, he looked at her, who was crying with tears streaming down like pear blossoms. Lin Qingyu timidly took my brother's hand. "I'm sorry. I know I've done many wrong things, and I will do my best to make up for them. Xiachen, can you forgive me?" This unusual statement made my brother's expression freeze. Then, pretending to be calm, he coldly brushed her hand away. "When you said I was disgusting, why didn't you think about asking for my forgiveness?" Lin Qingyu, ignoring his coldness, threw herself into his arms. "Xiachen, I like you. Can we be together?" I saw my brother's fist suddenly clenched tightly. I also caught a fleeting glimpse of bitterness in Xinyu's eyes. "Brother," I interrupted them, my voice trembling with fear and unease, and softly asked, "Did we win today's lawsuit?" Xinyu gave me a troubled look. "Lin Qingyu is not guilty." This sentence felt like a thunderclap right beside my ear, leaving my head buzzing and my ears ringing. "Innocent? How could he be innocent? The judge said your evidence contained exaggerated elements and would not be accepted, but this evidence was prepared by him and my brother themselves." My intense shouts attracted the reporters waiting outside the door. They surrounded me from all sides, the camera focused on my unwilling face. Questions came at me from all directions. "Miss Xia, the judge declared Lin Qingyu not guilty. How do you explain this? Are you deceiving the public?" More and more reporters are frantically pouring in. Xinyu pulled me away from the crowd. When getting into the car, I accidentally touched the scar on my body. I winced in pain. Beneath the thin clothing, unseen by anyone, an orange peel-like scar stretched across my entire arm, bumpy and rough. It was utterly repulsive. This was done by Lin Qingyu with a curling iron. Just because someone said my skin was better than hers, my hair quality isn't very good either. It's like dry straw. It was Lin Qingyu who poured the potion, because someone praised me for having thick, jet black hair. At that moment, I still held hope for Xinyu. "Xinyu, please, take me back. I want to see the judge." The next second, my words got stuck in my throat. In Xinyu's gentle gaze, there was a faint trace of impatience. "Ah Zong, don't act like this in front of the reporters. We're getting married, and I hope you can be a normal person, not someone I have to clean up after every time. I froze in place. It took a while to snap out of it. Shinyu, am I being unreasonable? Did I create all these scars myself? My hysterical questioning was met only with his endless silence. Azong, I have a company meeting to attend. Stay at your brother's place tonight. That night, videos of my emotional breakdown were reported everywhere. In front of the camera, Lin Qingyu's eyes were brimming with tears, looking fragile and pitiful. It's okay, Xiaozong is just sick, I won't blame her. The netizens who originally supported me instantly turned against me. Damn, we were fooled. It turns out Xiaozong made it all up. You love spreading rumors so much. Why don't you go inside and spread them there? You all don't know, do you? Xiaozong's family is really rich. A rich heiress getting bullied. Who would believe that? They really didn't know. I was just the Xia family's adopted daughter. My brother is my parents' real son. The moment he decided to become a lawyer and broke ties with our parents, he resolutely took me with him. I haven't been a wealthy young lady for a long time. Late at night, the bedroom was quiet. Janie sent me many messages, but I didn't reply. I didn't dare to look at my phone, go online, or even turn on the TV. Suddenly, the sound of the door opening came from outside, accompanied by rustling noises. Lin Qingyu's shy whisper followed. Xiaqin, don't turn on the light. I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar. My brother brought Lin Qingyu back. I opened the bedroom door, and the commotion in the living room became even clearer. Be good, sit still, don't move. It was my brother's command. Filled with desire, what they were doing was self-evident. Without hesitation, I turned on the living room light. The harsh light fell on the man and woman standing in the entryway. Lin Qingyu let out a sharp scream, shrinking back into my brother's arms in fright. My brother frowned and turned around, a flicker of annoyance flashing in his eyes at the interruption. What are you doing here? I replied almost numbly. Shinyu won't let me go to his place. Where else am I supposed to go? This place used to be my safe haven. I never thought that one day I wouldn't even have a place to stand. Lin Qingyu suddenly threw herself into my brother's arms, her face full of worry. Xiaqin, don't go near her. You must remember what I said. Xia Chen comfortingly patted her hand, his gaze toward me filled with indifference. Azong, Shinyu and I have discussed it. You should go back to the hospital to stay. Tomorrow, Shinyu's driver will come to pick you up. Why? No reason. My brother picked up Lin Qingyu and walked into the bedroom. With the soft sound of the door closing, the living room darkened. I wanted to follow and say something, but the moment I knocked on the door, I suddenly heard movement inside. Lin Qingyu gasped for breath while crying. Xiaqin, I'm telling the truth. I've been reborn, and in the future, Xiaozong will inherit the family business that should be yours. I don't care about that family business, but what if it's for me? Lin Qingyu's voice was broken and desperate. What if she would kill me? After a long silence, the ambiguous movements in the room suddenly intensified, accompanied by Xiaqin's whisper, don't worry, I'll protect you. The next day, the driver who came to pick me up for the hospital found me missing. At that moment, I was sitting in the Xia family's villa, having a meal with my parents. Has the online public opinion been cleaned up? Dad casually asked his secretary, reporting back to President Xia. Everything has been taken care of. Mom placed a piece of beef in my bowl. Has Xiaqin been feeding you properly all these years? How did you get so thin? Back then, the reason I ended up at the Xia family was because Xiaqin had an argument with Mom and Dad. When they took him to the orphanage for charity work, he said he would never take over the family business in this lifetime. My father, in a fit of anger, immediately decided to adopt me. If you don't want to take over the family business, there are plenty of others who do. So Xiaqin doesn't like me. At home, I tread carefully, cautiously trying to please everyone. Still, it couldn't stop Xiaqin from taking me with him when he ran away from home. My parents didn't try to stop him. In fact, the only few times they contacted us over the years were to ask how Xiaqin was doing, so I knew my own worth. Faced with my mother's concern, I softly defended Xiaqin. Brother is too busy. It's me. I just don't like eating. You're always defending Xiaqin. Just as we were talking, the doorbell suddenly rang. The servant opened the door. It was Xiaqin and Shinyu. Their sharp, cold gazes fell on me simultaneously, chilling and oppressive. It's as if I'm an utterly wicked person. Dad frowned. Why are you back? Xiaqin said, to take Xiaozong away. A few minutes ago, I had already exposed Xiaqin's affair with Lin Qingyu. Lin Qingyu is the illegitimate daughter of the Lin family and has never been well received. The Lin family has been on a decline in recent years. It offers no benefit to the development of the Xia family. Now that Xiaqin has come looking for me, it has only further infuriated my parents. Dad angrily refused him. Xiaozong isn't going anywhere. She'll stay with the Xia family. After her coming-of-age ceremony, she'll go to college. Dad, Don't call me dad until you break up with that woman. In the summer of my 18th year, thanks to my parents' protection, I had a period of quiet days. The online criticism against me has completely vanished, of course. Like most cases of school bullying, the suffering I endured has also faded from everyone's memory. Time flew by, and soon it was my coming-of-age ceremony. The venue was packed with people. I stood in the crowd and suddenly heard a clear, carefree voice, "Lynching you. Who allowed you to show up here?" Following the voice, I saw the eldest daughter of the Lin family, Lin Shuang, shouting at "Lynching you. I've said it before, every time I see you and your mother, I'll hit you. Which side of your face do you want my slap on?" This is no surprise. Lin Shuang and this illegitimate half-sister have never gotten along. Lynching you smiled slightly. Xiachen invited me here. When she saw me, she enthusiastically ran over and took my arm. "Xiazong, where is your brother?" I didn't want to deal with her. Lin Qingyu raised a bright smile. "Why won't you talk to me? Your brother and Qingyu have already forgiven me. Won't you forgive me too, please?" I suddenly raised my hand and slapped Lin Qingyu hard across the face. "Sorry, I can't forgive you." The sudden slap left Lin Qingyu stunned, until Xiachen quickly walked over and pulled her into his embrace. "Xiazong, is this how I usually teach you?" Apologized to her. Lin Qingyu covered her face, tears streaming down. "I'm sorry, Xiazong. It's my fault. It was your fault from the start." Xiachen's tone was exceptionally cold. "Is depression your get-out-of-jail-free card? Are these petty squabbles really worth getting depressed over?" So in his eyes, everything Lin Qingyu had done to me was just petty squabbles all along. Lin Qingyu hid in his arms, large teardrops rolling from her eyes. "Don't, Xiachen, don't confront her. She will ruin you in the future. Didn't we agree to meet your parents?" Xiachen finally closed his eyes, as if calming his anger. "All right, I'll listen to you in everything." After the two left, Lin Shuang leisurely walked over to me. "Be careful, or your parents might disown you after hearing what she says." Meeting my questioning gaze, Lin Shuang snorted disdainfully. "I'm just kindly reminding you that Lin Qingyu has been acting like she's possessed lately, going around claiming she has the ability to foresee the future. Those who've heard her talk seem brainwashed too. My parents are a perfect example. They just welcomed her back into the Lin family a few days ago." I quietly looked up toward the study. Soon after, the study door opened. Lin Qingyu's face turned deathly pale as she stumbled against the railing in panic. Had Xiachen not steadied her, she might have tumbled to her death. The guests all looked up. My father emerged from inside, his face still flushed with anger, and warned her, "Miss Lin, such clumsy prophecies are of no use to me. Our family is not a place just anyone can enter. Xiazong is not someone anyone can bully either. I advise you to think twice." Lin Shuang suddenly turned her head. Meeting my calm gaze, I smiled. "Don't worry, they won't for now. Lin Qingyu's prophecies only apply to the normal course of events, so I just need to cut off the path I was meant to take." Lin Qingyu kept trying to explain. "Uncle Xiazong really has her eyes on your family fortune." Enough. My father's gaze was as cold as ice. "Zong, for the sake of our relationship with Xiachen, signed a waiver giving up her inheritance rights long ago. She was practically on the verge of cutting ties with us." Lin Shuang looked shocked. "Are you crazy? When your parents pass away in the future, if your brother listens to her pillow talk, do you think he'll let you off the hook?" I stared intently at Lin Shuang. "Miss Lin, how about making a deal? It would help both me and you." When I returned from talking with Lin Shuang, I happened to run into Xiachen sending Lin Qingyu home. Many people around were pointing fingers at her. Is that her? Not only did she bully someone, but she also tried to drive a wedge between parents and their children. What kind of person is that? A bastard child, not fit for the public eye. Lin Qingyu wept, her tears falling like raindrops on pear blossoms. "Xiachen, I'm not like that. Please help me sue them." "Okay." Xiachen held her hand. "Okay, go home and rest, sleep well, and when you wake up, everything will be better." After the coming-of-age ceremony, Lin Shuang helped me contact the media. I sat in front of the camera, detailing the specifics of the bullying I endured from Lin Qingyu. The video caused a huge uproar online. Sharp-eyed netizens pointed out, "It looks like she has burn marks on her body." I attended the hearing, and Xiazong's lawyer didn't present any evidence. That's when I found out that Xiachen and Xinyu had hidden the evidence without my permission. Netizens urged me to change lawyers and appeal again soon. I found a lawyer willing to take on my case. The day before I was set to submit the materials, I suddenly received a call from Xinyu. "Zong, let's pick a day and get our marriage certificate." His tone was so gentle that it felt somewhat insincere. It instantly made me realize his intention. "No matter what you say, I won't help Lin Qingyu clear her name. She deserves to be criticized to death." There was a long silence on The other end of the phone. "This is your last chance, Azong." I angrily hung up the phone, but my hand kept trembling. Truth be told, I didn't dare to gamble on human nature. When Mom and Dad saw Lin Qingyu's predictions coming true one by one, would they still help me? I am just an adopted daughter. The only thing I can do now is to temporarily reassure my parents and bring Lin Qingyu to justice as quickly as possible. In the following days, things progressed too smoothly. It wasn't until I was cornered in the alley that I realized what Qinyu meant by "don't regret it." Several big men pinned me down in the alley. They roughly tore my clothes apart. Lin Qingyu stood not far away, smugly saying, "Xiaozong, you must be wondering why they're treating you like this. Because you deserve to die. In our past life, you harmed all of us, yet you sit before me as if nothing happened. Why, no matter how many times you defeat me, in the end, you will surely lose to me." Those few people, like wild dogs, swarmed forward as Lin Qingyu left. I screamed, fighting desperately. Time passed bit by bit, and those men clearly panicked. "Knock her out first, then do it." I saw the rock they raised high. Soon after, the sound of police sirens came from outside the alley. There were police officers, and there were reporters. The police were called by Lin Shuang, and the reporters were summoned by Lin Qingyu that day. A pixelated video of me, disheveled and dragged out of the alley, made headlines. Countless media outlets have been forwarding and reporting on the story. Lin Shuang draped a coat over me, pulled me into the restroom, and held my trembling hands. "Xiaozong, open your eyes and look at me," she repeated to me, word by word, over and over again. "They are the ones who deserve to die. We will never settle. Do you understand?" Covered in bruises, I held Lin Shuang's hand in a daze. "Don't let Jianyi know. Jianyi would fight to the death for me." "All right." I was trembling all over. "And don't stand up for me." "Why?" I was trembling in pain. What if Xiachen and Qinyu were also involved in this? Lin Shuang's face turned pale. "Are you saying your parents might sweep it under the rug?" "Yes." I slowly hugged my knees. "Profit comes first. No one cares whether I live or die." "Impossible." Just as we were talking, the sound of unfamiliar voices suddenly came from outside the restroom. "The girl's parents have come to pick her up," saying nothing happened, and they're taking her home. The parents of the girl who called the police also came, saying they didn't discipline her properly and that it was a false alarm. The light in Lin Shuang's eyes gradually dimmed. My parents had completely given up on me. My last way out was also blocked by Lin Qingyu. I smiled bitterly. "Lin Shuang, only by leaving can we survive. This time it's about finding someone to assault me. What about next time? Will they try to take my life?" In the dimly lit restroom, the exhaust fan hummed noisily. Lin Shuang's eyes were filled with intense hatred. "So, what do you plan to do? Leave?" "I can't promise how many years I'll be gone, but you must believe that I will definitely return." That summer, I didn't make it to the university I had dreamed of. Instead, I boarded a plane bound for Country M. I was forcibly admitted to a remote mental hospital by Xiachen on the day of the flight. "Lin Qingyu came specifically to see me off," she said to me smugly. "Xiaozong, go to hell." But Lin Qingyu would never have imagined, the moment I boarded the plane, her life was destined to be plunged back into hell by me. Winter passed and spring came. 7 years in the blink of an eye. Outside the mental hospital, the poplar trees began to drift with white fluff again. In the afternoon, I curled up in bed, staring blankly at the poplars outside. On the table lay a psychological evaluation form filled with numbers. The sliding door of the hospital room was suddenly pushed open, and a voice full of playful arrogance drifted in. "Miss Xia, how many times have you filled out the evaluation form? Will you pass this time?" I turned my head, met Lin Shuang's somewhat haggard face, and smiled. "I don't know." A doctor walked in behind Lin Shuang. He informed me in a very calm tone, "Miss Xia, your condition has improved, and you can be discharged from the hospital." At this point, 7 years had passed since I was admitted. Lin Shuang stared at the evaluation form in my hand, where the number in the upper right corner read 2556. "What does this mean?" "The 2556th copy." Lin Shuang looked at me as if I were a madman. "From the day you entered, you started proving you were normal. A full 7 years." I laughed. "The facts prove that it's still more reliable for you to pull strings." Lin Shuang exhausted every possible method to get me out of the mental hospital, and it took a full 7 years. She picked up my luggage and casually remarked, "By the way, your brother and Lin Qingyu are getting married." I paused for a moment. Yes, over the years, Lin Qingyu had no talent for business, and the Lin family relied entirely on Lin Shuang to hold things together. Meanwhile, Xiachen had achieved nothing in the business world. As a result, the positions of the two families in the business world had completely reversed. The marriage naturally fell into place. Lin Shuang rummaged through her bag. "By the way, here's your admission letter. From the renowned physics professor, Joel Stephen. Back then, you sent emails For 6 months straight, and Steven never replied. Now, he probably doesn't even want to let you go. Steven always says that I am the most physically gifted person he has ever seen. It was this fondness that led him to break the rules and privately teach me physics through emails and videos for 7 years, and on the day I left the hospital, he eagerly sent me an admission offer. I replied to him with an email, "Thank you, but I may have to postpone the start of school. There are some things I need to do," the other party replied, "Wishing you success." I returned to the country as a senior technical consultant for the Lin Group. Seeing Xia Chen's wedding news plastered all over the streets and alleys, I couldn't help but feel a wave of disgust. In the afternoon, at the end of the cool corridor, Lin Qingyu's arrogant voice echoed, picking the exact time of my wedding photoshoot for a meeting. "Does Lin Xuan not want to work anymore?" Lin Xuan led me as she pushed open the office door, smiling brightly as she said, "Isn't this to introduce you to an old acquaintance?" 7 years had passed, and Lin Qingyu had grown even more stunningly beautiful. I heard that over the years, the elders of the Lin and Xia families had favored her, and Lin Qingyu no longer carried the awkwardness and caution of the past, appearing like a true-born daughter of a prominent family. At first glance, she didn't recognize me. Instead, she mocked Lin Xuang, "You won't last long either. Once I get married, Xia Chen will take over everything." Xia Zong, Xia Chen, who was standing nearby, suddenly called out my name. Lin Qingyu's face visibly paled with panic. Following Xia Chen's gaze, her eyes landed on my face. Her voice was sharp. "Xia Zong, how did you get back without my permission?" From her few words, everyone learned my identity and began whispering among themselves. "Is this the humiliated young lady of the Xiao family?" It said that after she became mentally unstable, she was sent abroad for treatment. Lin Xuan has gone mad. Why bring a lunatic at this critical moment? During the years I was away, Lin Qingyu spread rumors everywhere that I had been humiliated. As a result, many aristocratic families avoided marrying me. Gradually, I lost my value to the Xia family and was forgotten by my parents, so she was certain that I would never leave the psychiatric hospital. I smiled and asked Lin Qingyu, "Do I need your permission to be discharged?" Lin Qingyu, having recovered from her panic, linked arms with Xia Chen and provocatively said to me, "Husband, Xia Zong's illness isn't cured yet. Let's send her back." "Okay, Miss Lin, you don't need to worry about my mental state." I tossed the letter of appointment into Lin Qingyu's arms, causing her to stumble back a few steps. "Read the words on it clearly. Now, please adjust your wording and tone accordingly. And think about how you should speak to your superior." The scene was deathly silent. Lin Qingyu held the letter of appointment with its black characters on white paper and the red seal, and suddenly her lips trembled. "Impossible." Xia Chen frowned, scrutinizing the contents of the paper. "Lin Xuang, she's just a psychiatric patient. Do you think there's any need to continue the project after this news is announced?" It has to be said that in business, Xia Chen is truly, utterly useless. I found a soft and comfortable chair to sit in, smiling as I sized up the man and woman before me. The AI products recently launched by the Lin and Xia families have already been widely applied across various industries. Are you really going to announce to the world that the AI technology currently used in your products originated from the delusions of a mentally ill patient? Lin Xuan said expressionlessly. "Road safety, healthcare, agricultural irrigation. President Xia should know that once we issue that statement, both our families will be doomed beyond redemption." Xia Chen's face was terrifyingly dark. Lin Qingyu's face was even paler, and she tightly grasped Xia Chen's hand. Over the years, Lin Qingyu's life had only gotten better and better, especially after the Lin family rose to prominence. She and Xia Chen indulged in a life of luxury every day, become the golden couple envied by everyone in the circle. But Lin Qingyu didn't know that this was a mirage, a fleeting dream that Lin Xuang and I had woven for her. All her glamour and brilliance were built up by my own hands, just waiting for the day when the foundation is pulled out. Lin Qingyu and Xia Chen will come crashing down from the clouds, shattered to pieces. This is just the beginning. I stood up. "All right, since neither of you has any desire to continue spreading rumors, gather in the conference room in 10 minutes for a meeting." By the end of the meeting, Lin Xuang's face was practically splitting from smiling. After lying low for many years, Lin Xuang finally succeeded in convening the shareholders' meeting today, kicked her father out of that position. That night, I drove to the Xia family's house. My parents, Xia Chen, and Lin Qingyu were all sitting neatly in the dining room, the atmosphere somewhat awkward. Mom grabbed Dad's hand, her smile stiff. "Zong, why are you back?" I smiled as I carried the gift inside. "Of course, I missed you." Then, in the midst of the dead silence, I deliberately asked as if nothing was wrong, "Excuse me, where will I be staying tonight?" Lin Qingyu looked at Xiachen, as if seeking help, shaking her head in fear. Xiachen frowned. You came back without even giving us a heads up, and you still expect us to have a room ready for you? Then I'll squeeze into a room with my sister-in-law. My father stood up abruptly. Xiaozong, come with me to the study. The study was quiet. Since we entered, my father had said nothing further. It seemed he was waiting for me to speak first. I calmly asked, Dad, did you need something? Dad sighed and spoke earnestly. Our family has indeed let you down over the years. If you come back, your mom and I will still treat you like our own daughter. Don't hold a grudge over what happened between your brother and Qingyu. Hearing this, I didn't feel sad at all, to be precise. Over the past 7 years, during countless nights when I curled up crying under the covers, I had already grown accustomed to not feeling sad. I placed the gift in front of him and said, Dad, I think there are some things you need to understand. A prophecy is called a prophecy because it cannot be changed. You can only choose one, the Xia family or Xiachen. His face quickly turned pale. I stood up. No rush. Think it over, and let me know whenever you're ready. I began living the most comfortable days I had ever experienced. I followed the established procedures to coordinate with the technical department and regularly exchanged emails with Steven to discuss project progress. Lin Shuang's parents and I didn't dare utter a single word. In this situation, Lin Qingyu was the first to break down. During the morning meeting, Lin Qingyu went crazy in front of everyone. Xiaozong, can you stop targeting me? She threw the proposal papers all over the place, crying and shouting at me. This is workplace bullying. I dodged the flying folder and quietly waited for her tantrum to end. Then I called security. Go outside and calm down. Come back and present your proposal to me when you can tell the difference between targeting someone and normal work demands. The others in the conference room looked at Lin Qingyu with strange expressions. Lin Qingyu tried to evoke their sympathy. The way she treats me now, she'll treat you the same way someday. No one present was willing to speak up for her. She didn't understand that the era when she was a little gangster was long gone. Adults wouldn't let gossip dictate their survival instincts in the workplace. Whoever pays their salary is the boss. Steven and Lin's new project is steadily progressing. One evening, as I was just stepping out of the office building, I saw a familiar face. Xinyu. According to Lin Shuang, ever since learning about Lin Qingyu and Xia Chen's marriage, Xinyu has been drinking himself into a stupor every day. His family business is nearly ruined, and there's no need for us to take any action against him today. However, he has shed his despondency and stands before me with dignity, as gentle as he was back then. Azong, you're back. I've missed you so much. In fact, for Lin Qingyu, he perfectly fits the image of the devoted second male lead, handsome, loyal, gentle, and willing to abandon everything for the one he loves, including, for Lin Qingyu, he forced himself to marry me, sacrificing his own happiness for life. I scoffed lightly. Has Mr. Shin quit his drinking habit? Xinyu's expression stiffened. Azong, I've been waiting for you for so many years. He had dressed up specially today, carrying the fresh scent of soapberries, because I had said that I liked the way he smelled. I tossed my bag to him and said with a smile, Brother Xinyu, I want to have French cuisine tonight. All right. When we entered, I specifically mentioned to the waiter that Xinyu and I were engaged. The restaurant thoughtfully prepared some romantic rituals for us all night. I propped my head up, enjoying the piano and violin duet. I ate every last piece of meat on the plate. I also ordered an extra serving of cream of mushroom soup. Xinyu was absent-minded the entire time. It seemed like he was enduring torment every minute and every second. I pretended not to see it until, at a certain moment, I reached out and touched Xinyu's hand. It wasn't until he pulled away as if struck by lightning, with disgust flashing in his eyes, that I happily laughed out loud. Throwing down the fork, I propped my chin up with great interest. Mr. Shin, no more pretending. Xinyu avoided my gaze. Azong, do you still like me? I smiled brightly and said, Of course I do. When are we getting married? Xinyu's lips pressed tightly together. If you want to, any time is fine. His expression of humiliation was truly fascinating. For several days in a row, Xinyu was always at my beck and call. He complied with all my requests without question, until one day, I once again made things difficult for Lin Qingyu at the company. Xinyu took advantage of my mealtime to pull me aside. Azong, don't always pick on Lin Qingyu. It was all just childish squabbles back then. There's no need. I gazed at him with a distant look, pulling up my sleeve to reveal a dense array of scars. If these scars were on Lin Qingyu, would you still think it was just childish squabbles? Seeing Xinyu fall silent, I picked up my bag and prepared to leave. Let's call it a day. I'm heading home first. Xinyu grabbed me, his voice low with reproach. Azong, can you please stop losing your temper all the time? I paused. Sorry. Are you blaming me? What? I pushed Xinyu's hand away. looking at him with a pleased expression. You don't seem to understand your place in this relationship. Am I the one begging you? Xinyu's expression stiffened. What do you mean? It's actually quite amusing to watch Lin Qinyu's dog come over and wag its tail, begging for my attention. I pinched his cheek. For the sake of your good looks, I'll do you the honor of letting you keep me company for a few days. You didn't really think I was going to marry you, did you? Xinyu's pupils contracted sharply. Are you playing me, a brainless lapdog, and you expect others to treat you like a human being? I opened the car door and waved to Xinyu. Thank you. I've been very happy these past few days, but it ends here. Upon hearing this, Lin Xuan laughed so hard that tears streamed down her face, eating soft rice with a tough attitude. Xinyu really has some nerve. If it were me, I'd be kneeling down begging you. As soon as the words fell, a faint, ambiguous sound suddenly came from the computer. Lin Xuan gestured for me to be quiet. Isn't this my study? Why are Lin Qingyu and Xinyu inside? I saw Lin Qingyu being held on the table by Xinyu. What they were doing was self-explanatory. Xinyu, help me one more time, okay? Just like 7 years ago, ruin her. Xinyu's voice was low and hoarse. But those people were found by Xiachen. You can't bear to let him do it, right? Lin Qingyu's voice suddenly grew louder, accompanied by a plea. Xinyu, even after marriage, I could. All right, I'll help you. Lin Xuan turned off the video with a look of disgust. He sneered coldly. Tell me, what can Xinyu, who has nothing, rely on to destroy you? Of course, by using his worthless life to trade for mine. Lin Xuan opened her mouth. That idiot. It made me laugh. Time quickly arrived at Xiachen's wedding day. Quite a few people had come to the scene by the time I arrived. Lin Xuan had long been sitting in the corner waiting for me, just as I was about to take my seat. Lin Qingyu appeared out of nowhere and grabbed my hand. Azong, I have something to tell you. Can you come with me for a moment? Meeting her sincere gaze, I curled my lips into a smile. Sure. Lin Qingyu led me through the guests and arrived at the back door. Sunlight spilled freely onto the asphalt road. The surroundings were so quiet that only the rustling of leaves could be heard. A Maserati was parked by the roadside. I stood by the roadside and said, Speak. What's the matter? Lin Qingyu's expression suddenly turned ferocious. Xiazong, go die. After saying that, she gave me a hard shove. In the next second, the smile on Lin Qingyu's face froze. It turned out that I had tightly grabbed hold of her belt. I dragged her along, and together we tumbled into the middle of the road. The distant roar of an engine approached. I saw the car speeding toward us, and inside it was Xinyu. Lin Qingyu struggled and screamed, You're insane. The car was right in front of us. The earthy scent, tinged with the smell of soil, stirred up a restless frenzy within me. I flipped over and pinned Lin Qingyu to the ground, smiling as I said, so eager for me to die. How about we die together? In truth, the plan Lin Xuan and I had agreed upon wasn't like this, but years of pent-up grievances had unleashed a deep-seated ferocity within me. For a moment, I truly wished for Lin Qingyu to die. Lin Qingyu's pupils dilated with fear. No, Xiazong, please, let me go. It hurts too much. Dying really hurts too much. A screeching sound of brakes echoed, startling a flock of birds by the roadside into flight. The front bumper pressed against Lin Qingyu's arm, her skirt damp and wet. She didn't know when she had wet herself. She stood there in a daze, not snapping out of it until Xinyu rushed out of the car and lifted her from the ground. Xiazong, you're truly insane. Xinyu's tone was filled with undisguised disgust. I stood by the roadside, took out a wet wipe, and slowly wiped my hands. While playing the recording of their conspiracy that day, Lin Qingyu, here's a choice for you. Either go to prison with Xinyu, or pin all the blame on him. Xinyu's face flushed with anger. Enough, Xiazong. If you have anything, come at me. Don't make things difficult for her. Suddenly, Lin Qingyu pushed Xinyu aside and crawled toward the approaching police. It was Xinyu who wanted to kill us. Help, help. Xinyu's words stuck in his throat. He seemed unable to believe what he had just heard. I clapped my hands with a smile. Brother Xinyu, it seems she doesn't care about you at all. Xinyu's face quickly turned pale as he was escorted away by the police, one on each side. Mr. Xin, you are suspected of attempted murder and are under arrest by the police. Xinyu's dazed gaze suddenly cleared. This is just a traffic accident. How can it be called attempted murder? Where's the evidence? Would we arrest you without evidence? Upon hearing the police officers retort, Xinyu shuddered all over and abruptly looked at me. You. At this moment, I had already retreated under the big tree and opened a parasol. Oh, I forgot to tell you, the recording was submitted to the police a long time ago, and the video of you and Lin Qingyu having an affair should be playing on the big screen right about now. Lin Qingyu was completely terrified, sitting on the ground in a disheveled state, muttering, Xiazong, you went back on your word. She scrambled to her feet and rushed toward the auditorium. She ran headlong into Lin Shuang, who had just opened the door. Lin Shuang raised her hand and slapped her across the face. In front of all the guests, she said coldly, "You've completely disgraced our Lin family." Lin Qingyu saw Xiachen standing in the distance, and behind Xiachen, the video playing on the public screen let out a scream, and she fainted. The afternoon office was quiet and warm. Lin Shuang pushed the door open and entered. I plopped down into the boss chair in front of me, feeling refreshed and energized. "I've recently gained a crazy little sister. She locks herself in her bedroom every day, muttering nonsense." Now, with the toxic presence of Lin Qingyu gone, Lin Shuang has become the true master of the Lin family. She tossed the stock transfer agreement to me. "It's time for me to fulfill my promise. When should I make a move against your brother?" "Anytime." Having disrupted the alliance between the Lin and Xia families. Destroying the Xia family is as easy as turning over a hand. With Xinyu imprisoned, his jealousy over Xiachen winning Lin Qingyu's love would drive him to reveal Xiachen's secrets by any means necessary. A week later, the Lin group suddenly announced the termination of its partnership with the Xia family. They also poached the core team that had been overseeing the project. While serving as a technical consultant and visiting the Xia group to coordinate with the team, I unexpectedly encountered an enraged Xiachen. He broke through the police restraint and rushed over, fiercely grabbing my neck. "Qingyu was right. You really are a jinx." A sense of suffocation washed over me, but I smiled brightly at Xiachen. "No brother in the world would hire someone to humiliate his own sister. You deserve to die." 7 years later, recalling the fragile and helpless version of myself from back then, like a stray dog, I couldn't help but feel my eyes well up with tears. If it weren't for Xiachen's involvement in the scheme, my parents wouldn't have stepped in to suppress the matter. Xiachen's gaze turned dark. "So what if I did it? You're just an adopted daughter." My nails dug fiercely into the back of Xiachen's hand. "Guess, when the building is about to collapse, will mom and dad protect a useful adopted daughter or a worthless biological son?" 7 years later, I have grown my wings. Holding the core technology of the Xia family, I am no longer the weak girl I once was. Xia Chen's hand trembled, and he let go of me, clutching my reddened neck. I watched as the police approached, taking the panicked Xiachen away, and laughed until tears streamed down my face. Only then did he realize that these police officers had been called by his own parents. They had personally sent their own son to prison. Watching Xiachen being taken away, they cautiously asked me, "Azong, you said you would protect the Xia family. You won't go back on your word, right?" Lin Shuang pushed through the crowd and helped me up. She applied a cold pain relief patch to my neck. "It's all red from the pinch. Come on, let's go to the hospital with me." Lin Shuang pulled me all the way out of the company. It was midsummer, and the thick, leafy boulevard rustled in the wind. The two of us leaned against the flower bed by the roadside, each holding an ice pop in our mouths, neither of us speaking. Lin Shuang licked her ice pop and said, "In a few days, I'll release the plan about how Lin Qingyu bullied you back then and even hired people to humiliate you." Azong, the power of the internet 7 years later is far greater than either of us could have imagined. They'll never be able to recover from this. But in return, Lin Shuang looked at me with concern. "I'm afraid the gossip might hurt you." I smiled. "What gossip? That I'm tainted and will never marry in this lifetime, or that I'm cowardly, unlikable, and must have something wrong with me." Lin Shuang was momentarily speechless, then broke into a wide smile. "It seems, it doesn't bother you at all." I picked up a small twig and drew a circle on the ground. "I hope that everyone who has ever been bullied dares to step out, to rise to a height where they cannot be easily defined, and look down upon the gossip." Lin Shuang, "That's why I made it public." Lin Shuang seemed lost in thought for a moment before turning to me with a bright smile. "Then let's hold a press conference." 3 days later, a grand press conference was held at the Lin group. Lin Shuang and I sat side by side on the stage. The events that occurred back then were revealed in full detail. It ignited the entire internet. Holy crap, Xiazong, I remember her, the girl whose accusation against the bully took a surprising turn back then. It turns out it wasn't a rumor. His brother conspired with his fiancée to hide the evidence. How despicable. And what's more, his brother hired someone to assault his sister. Even if she's an adopted daughter, that's still unacceptable, right? Was she actually assaulted or not? Whether she was insulted or not is irrelevant. All we can do is ensure the murderer dies. 7 years later, the power of the internet is immense. The press conference was packed with people. Reporters aimed their cameras at me, asking, "Ms. Xia, how did you manage to turn the tables after the injustices you faced in your youth?" I smiled and glanced at Lin Shuang. Lin Shuang and I made a deal that bound us together. What kind of deal? No matter what dangers I face in the Xia family, She must spare no effort to rescue me from peril and ensure my survival. In return, I will help her obtain everything she desires. This was the deal. I, starving and desperate, struck with the disheartened Lin Shuang on the night of that disastrous coming-of-age ceremony. The reporter gasped. Have you ever thought that if there was even the slightest mistake, if there was a mistake, both she and I would lose everything? So, both she and I have to fight with everything we have to win. I glanced at the corner, where Janie, now the executive president of Xia Corporation, stood, and smiled faintly. Actually, I should have publicly thanked someone. After I left, Janie became Lin Qingyu's best friend. Many pieces of evidence were gathered by her on my behalf from the shadows. To this day, most people have little impression of Janie. I still couldn't bring myself to mention Janie's name. She is not like Lin Shuang, without a powerful background, just as I distanced myself from her back. Then, many years later, I still want to protect her. Halfway through the press conference, the reporter finally circled around and asked the classic question, President Xia, have you ever considered the issue of marriage? Do those things affect your marriage prospects? The venue gradually fell silent. Many people looked at me with gazes that were either scrutinizing, mocking, or filled with anticipation. Before this, some had even publicly stated online, I admit Xiaozong is outstanding, but no one would want to marry someone like her. Indeed, she doesn't seem quite pure. I smiled, picked up the microphone, stood up, and leaned closer to the camera, enunciating each word clearly. I will not be anyone's wife. I am the current chairman of Xia Corporation, the founder of the EKO Artificial Intelligence Series brand, a partner and senior technical advisor of the Lin Group, and the developer of the EKO branded phones, cars, computers, smart home devices, autonomous driving systems, and more that you all use. Of course, I pointed at the reporter's camera. This device of yours is also my creation. Are you sure you want to spend your valuable time probing into my personal life, rather than providing feedback and suggestions for our products? As soon as I finished speaking, thunderous applause erupted in the room. The reporter's face flushed red, and he gave me an apologetic look. I smiled and said, I am Xiaozong. Thank you for your support. Time once again entered the scorching month of July. The names of Lin Shuang and I were plastered across major financial newspapers and news reports. Interviews came one after another. On the eve of my departure for further studies in country, Lin Shuang threw me a farewell party. Wearing a loose tank top and shorts, she sat with her legs apart, downed half a bottle of beer, and said with glee, Xiachen and Xinyu have been sentenced. I hired the best lawyers to keep them locked up until they turn into old men before releasing them, with nowhere to work, no family or friends, and not even able to use your artificial intelligence. Just thinking about it feels great. It's just Lin Qingyu, Lin Shuang said, a bit annoyed. She was an instigator, so her sentence wasn't heavy. Plus, she's been acting all weird, as if she's mentally ill. Mental illness, yes, she keeps repeating one phrase, this is not the last time. Recalling Lin Qingyu's mention of her rebirth a long time ago, I decided to go see her. Once, through a pane of glass, I saw Lin Qingyu. Her face was haggard, with deep-set eyes, yet her gaze was dark and bright. Carrying a hint of madness, she pressed against the windowpane, her wide eyes fixed on me with an intense stare. Xiaozong, do you think you've won? No, you haven't. Ha, I've got it. Can't let you go abroad. Ha, I've remembered it all. I've remembered it all. I looked at her quietly. How many times have you been reborn? Lin Qingyu said smugly. Guess, Xiaozong. You'll be scared to death, every time. I'll block your new path until you have nowhere to go. So, you've already lost to me many times. Lin Qingyu's face stiffened, gradually turning ferocious. You're lying. I didn't lose. The system told me I'm the female lead. It's just a game. Losing 8 or 10 times is perfectly normal. Now I understand why Lin Shuang said she was mentally ill. She tore at her own hair, glaring at me viciously. Like a madwoman, Xiaozong, I originally wanted to gather more information for a few more years, but I can't wait any longer. The moment I see your face, I can't help but want to kill you. The prison guard walked over, dragged Lin Qingyu up, and took her inside. Lin Qingyu let out a piercing scream. Ha, Xiaozong, sleep well. After tonight, you'll be back 7 years ago. This time, I won't let you off. After saying that, she broke free from the prison guard's grip and slammed her head against the wall. In an instant, blood gushed out, splattered on the glass. Lin Qingyu's body, eyes wide open, lay limp in the corner. She was dead. Before death, a pair of eyes glared fiercely at me. Suddenly, an incomprehensible language echoed in my mind, ancient and mysterious. I guessed it might be Lin Qingyu's so-called system. Watching them carry away Lin Qingyu's body, I turned and walked out. The scorching sun poured down on me, yet I couldn't feel a trace of warmth. Lin Shuang leaned in. What's wrong? You look a bit upset. I took a deep breath. It's nothing. I just don't really like games that restart, especially when you lose your memories. Ha. I patted Lin Shuang's head. "It's nothing. I hope next time, I'll be lucky enough to meet you again." I tried to say that ancient phrase, recorded it, and asked Lin Shuang to help me find an expert to decipher it. Then, I boarded the plane bound for Country M. As we crossed the Terminator, I calmly closed my eyes, quietly awaiting the fate that belonged to me. Darkness descended, and as if arranged, I fell into a deep sleep. It felt like an entire century had passed before someone shook me awake. "Hello, Miss Xia." Amidst the bustling noise around me, I slowly opened my eyes. Outside the window stretched an endless, wide runway. I silently looked at the flight attendant, who gave me a sweet smile and said, "It's time for you to disembark." The phone dinged once. I received a message from Lin Shuang. It was the translation of that ancient phrase. "Suicide is considered a voluntary withdrawal from the game. The host has been successfully eliminated, and the conquest is terminated." I stood up and walked out, the winding glass walkway unfolding beneath my feet. In the distance, the blue sky was as clear as if washed clean. The scorching afternoon sunlight was refracted by the transparent glass into a thin layer of light and shadow. In an instant, warmth flooded into every limb and bone. I curled the corners of my lips, bathed in the sunlight, and stride toward the distance like a resilient blade of grass, growing toward the sun. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In my past life, my mother gave me a pair of earrings worth tens of millions for my coming-of-age ceremony. After I put them on, overnight, I transformed from a beautiful young star in the entertainment industry into an 80-year-old woman. My mother, however, remained very calm. She locked me in the basement and cut off all my contact with the outside world until my brother's girlfriend kindly rescued me. But before I could thank her, I was stabbed to death by anti-fans. The first time I visited, "Your mom only gave me $1 million as a meeting gift. It's just your birthday. Why should she give you earrings worth tens of millions? Thomas's family fortune is mine. It's mine. Dare to compete for property. This is your end." Only after I died did I learn that she was dissatisfied with my mom giving me sky-high earrings. So she spread rumors online that I was a resource hog, inciting anti-fans to assassinate me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of my coming-of-age ceremony. I immediately gave the earrings to my brother's girlfriend. Since she wanted these life-exchanging earrings, I might as well give them to her at the coming-of-age ceremony. My mother presented me with a pair of earrings worth tens of millions in front of everyone. Envy was written on every face, and my brother's girlfriend, Molly, was no exception. She angrily slapped my brother. "Does your mother even care about you as a son? The first time I visited, she only gave me $1 million. Your sister is only celebrating her 18th birthday, and she dared to give her such expensive earrings right in front of you. Harry, are you even her biological son?" My brother came to his senses after my girlfriend said that, but before he could speak, I obediently handed him the earrings. "Brother, give them to Molly. She's prettier and more elegant than me, and the earrings suit her better." My brother looked surprised, but my mother anxiously snatched the earrings away. "How could you just give away the adult gift I gave you?" On the surface, my mother was fighting for me, but the darkness hidden beneath sent shivers down my spine. In my previous life, ever since I started wearing these earrings, my body rapidly aged. Overnight, I went from being the entertainment industry's most beautiful young star to an 80-year-old woman covered in freckles. In contrast, my mother, from 60, rejuvenated to 18. Even stranger, when I wanted to see a doctor, my mother insisted that it was due to excessive stress, and then she locked me in the basement. The basement was dark and sunless, and my mother no longer concealed her wickedness. Only then did I realize that what she gave me were life-swapping earrings. She took my 18-year-old body and looks, and I would rapidly age under the earrings' backlash until I withered away. Fortunately, I was not destined to die, and Molly saved me, but before I could thank her, I was stabbed to death by a sudden rush of anti-fans. In the last moment as my blood drained, Molly ripped off my earring and looked at me ferociously. "The first time I visited, your mom only gave me $1 million as a first meeting gift. It's just your birthday. Why would she give you earrings worth tens of millions? The Thomas family fortune is mine. It's mine. Dare to fight me for it, and this is what you get." Only after I died did I realize that she was unhappy my mom gave me those sky-high earrings, so she spread rumors online that I was a resource hog, inciting haters to assassinate me. But thankfully, heaven took pity on me and gave me a chance to start over. I gazed at the earrings, which shimmered with an eerie light, and a slight smile played on my lips. "Since you desire these life-swapping earrings so much, I shall give them to you. But once you take them, there's no turning back." Watching her mother snatched the earrings, Molly's face was filled with resentment. "What are you doing? Nicole already said she'd give them to me." My brother also chimed in. "Exactly, Mom. Why are you reacting so strongly?" Mom didn't bother to answer them, just kept trying to put the earrings on me. Seeing this, Molly sat directly on the ground and burst into tears. "Harry, I haven't even married into your family yet, And your mom is already treating me so harshly. If I marry into your family later, won't I be bullied to death? I'm just asking you, are you going to deal with this today or not? Her brother looked impatient with her crying. He tugged at his mother's hand. It's just a pair of earrings, and Nicole agreed. Do you have to humiliate her like this? Mom didn't indulge him either. My earrings, I'll give them to whoever I want. If you want them, buy them yourself. No wonder she's older and more cunning. This way. The conflict immediately shifted to me. I reached past her and put the earrings directly into Molly's hand. If you like these earrings, I'll give them to you as an apology gift from Mom. She excitedly took the earrings and tried them on in front of the mirror again and again. Just as Molly was about to put on the earrings, her mother snatched them away without a second thought. Molly's ear was instantly torn, and blood streamed down. "Ah!" Molly screamed, covering her ears. Mom wanted to go forward to check her injuries, but then, as if remembering something, she clutched the earrings in her hand tightly and retreated a few steps. Seeing his beloved woman suffer such a great injustice, the brother could no longer hold back. He grabbed Mom by the collar and violently threw her to the ground. With a snap, her ribs broke, but he still wasn't satisfied, so he kicked Mom several more times. If I hadn't desperately stopped him, she really might have been beaten to death by my brother. After taking my mother to the hospital, I stayed by her bedside and pretended to persuade her. "Mom, when you're discharged, give the earrings to Sister Molly. A family living in harmony is better than anything." My mother snorted, then turned over, her back to me. "What do you know?" I really didn't understand. Molly was so much prettier than me, so why was Mom so determined to swap our lives? What other unknown secrets were hidden within this? From her hospitalization to her discharge, my brother and Molly never once visited Mom. After returning home, Molly saw her mother, snorted, and then got up and went back to her room. Her brother, on the other hand, sat awkwardly in front of their mother. "Mom, I was impulsive about what happened before." Although her mother didn't say anything, the tears glistening in her eyes proved that she had made her stance clear. My brother continued, "You know how hard I worked to get Molly to agree to marry me. She said she'd marry me right away if you gave her those earrings, so why don't you?" At the mention of the earrings, Mom's attitude immediately did a complete U-turn. "No, the earrings can only be Nicole's." Her brother clutched his head in frustration. "I just don't get it. You're their mother, so why do you give her all the good things? Molly is your future daughter-in-law. If you don't treat her well now, don't expect her to treat you well later." Mom coughed violently, choked with anger. Her face, which had just regained some color, now turned deathly pale again. "Brother, you go back first. I'll talk to Mom. It's not that I'm particularly understanding. I just feared my brother would infuriate her to death right here. If she really died, no one would ever know the secret of these earrings." After sending my brother away, my mother looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Nicole, there's no way I'd give those earrings to anyone else. Don't worry, even if our family falls apart, I'll keep them safe for you. It's a good thing I've lived through this once more than her, so I know her crooked intentions." I pretended not to understand and asked her, "Mom, for brother's happiness, just give her the earrings. I can earn money now. If I want something, I can just buy it myself." Mom wouldn't listen at all. "Cut the nonsense. It's not your place to tell me who I give my earrings to. Help me back to my room. I'm tired." That night, as I lay in bed, I wondered what else my mother could gain from me besides my beauty. Suddenly, a bold idea struck me. The next morning, I was surprised to find Molly, who had been furious yesterday, now sitting in front of my mother with a beaming smile. She thoughtfully brought the soup pot to her mother. "Auntie, this is Angelica and black chicken soup I made myself. Please have some." I sat at the dining table as if nothing had happened, casually picking up a piece of bread. What happened that night, and why did Molly's attitude change so drastically? "Nicole," my mother waved her hand in front of me, and I slowly came back to my senses. She looked at me meaningfully. "Mom thought about it all night. I can't ruin your brother's happiness over a pair of earrings, so Mom decided to give the earrings to Molly. Are you willing to support Mom's decision?" Molly stared intently at me, as if she would tear me apart if I didn't agree. I hesitated and nodded, but 100 questions flashed through my mind. After getting my consent, Mom carefully placed the earrings she was carrying on the dining table. Molly excitedly reached for it, but her mother slapped her hand away, scolding her. "First, thank Nicole. These earrings were originally hers. If she hadn't agreed, you wouldn't even have had the chance to touch them." She awkwardly thanked me, then happily put on the earrings. "Nicole, don't be sad. Mom will definitely buy you an even better pair." I looked at Molly curiously. Why didn't she react at all when she put it on? Could it be that the life-exchanging earrings from my previous life were fake? A few days later, Mom mysteriously called me into her room. "Nicole, try These quickly, these are even better quality than Molly's. I looked at the exquisite earrings in the box, and a chill involuntarily ran down my spine because they were identical to Molly's. Mom noticed my confusion and took the initiative to explain. These two pairs are from the same master, so they naturally look the same, but this pair uses better materials. After speaking, she suddenly leaned close to my ear. My daughter is a big star, so of course she has to wear the best. The smile on her face looked more and more airy the longer I looked at it, and I couldn't help but shiver. Don't just stand there, put it on and try it. Let Mom have a look. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself down. My intuition told me there was something fishy going on. She kept urging me, and just as she was about to put them on me, Molly's scream from outside saved me. Mom put down the earring she was holding and rushed out. Molly, what's wrong? What happened? Molly, with trembling hands, handed a pregnancy test stick to her mother. Auntie, I'm pregnant, you're going to be a grandmother. Her mother looked at it again and again in disbelief, and finally, both of them had tears in their eyes. Looking at their excited faces, I can be absolutely certain that Molly's earrings are definitely fake, and the pair my mother gave me, those are the real-life swapping earrings. I don't understand why she would do this to me. I am her biological daughter, but reality often hits fast. The paternity test results just sent by the hospital show that she is not my biological mother. Suddenly, countless questions flooded my mind. I locked myself in my room, carefully recalling everything that had happened recently. Although I don't know whose daughter I am now, I know why Mom was so determined to trade lives with me that evening. As I passed Mom's room, I overheard my brother and her talking. Harry, now that Molly is pregnant too, there are some things about our family you must know. There's a reason I didn't give Molly those earrings she was nagging about before. I specifically sought out a master for those earrings. He told me that if I wanted someone dead, I should put the earrings on them. As long as Nicole wears them, I can swap names with her. Not only will her appearance transfer to me, but her wealthy destiny will also completely transfer over. A chill ran through me, from my feet to the top of my head, but I forced myself to keep listening. Now I've swapped out those earrings. As long as she wears them, she'll be dead within a week. After hearing her plan, I couldn't stop trembling. What are you doing? I spun around and saw Molly standing behind me. I didn't know when she got there. She opened her mouth to call out, but I clapped my hand over it. Don't make a sound. I'll tell you a secret. She looked at me in terror, but didn't make a sound. I brought her back to the room and told her earnestly, those earrings of yours are fake. Mom did this to trick you into marrying my brother as soon as possible. Molly naturally didn't believe it. Don't think I don't know. You just want to sow discord between me and Auntie. I'm telling you, no way. I didn't rush to refute her. Instead, I showed her the video of my mom calling me to my room to try on earrings earlier. Ever since I was reborn, I've had a portable pinhole camera on me, just in case Molly watched the video, and even though there was nothing explicit, her slightly trembling hands betrayed her. I thought you were so important to my mom, but it turns out she just fobbed you off with a pair of fake earrings. Do you know what I just heard? I heard my mom say she'd kick you out once the baby is born. Molly stood by the bed, stunned, after hearing my words. It was a while before she looked up at me. You think one video can sow discord between us? Pipe dream. I crossed my arms, a little disdainful. If you don't believe me, take these earrings and have them appraised. She looked at me with a mix of doubt and belief. Why are you helping me? I thought for a moment, because we're both girls. I bit my lip to keep from laughing after saying that. If you don't wear those life-swapping earrings, then it's my turn to wear them. Of course, I'll help you. A few days later, my mother was still immersed in the joy of becoming a grandmother until Molly threw a paternity test report in front of her. I worked so hard to bear children for your old Thomas family, and you try to fool me with a pair of fake earrings. Do you believe I'll go get an abortion, right now? My mom anxiously stopped her. Molly, listen to me. It's not what you think. Molly shook her off. I don't believe a word you say. You never considered me your daughter-in-law from the start. My brother heard the commotion and rushed out of his room. Not even having time to properly dress, he saw the appraisal report on the table and naturally understood what had happened. Let go. I'm going to abort the baby. You'll never see me again. Molly cried and screamed that she wanted to abort the baby, but my brother's reaction wasn't as strong as my mom's. Why don't you try to persuade her? Mom pushed my brother. My brother irritably ran his hands through his hair. Let her go. It's best if she gets hit. Molly was instantly silenced, and my mom was also confused. This is your first child. How can you just say you don't want it? I quickly chimed in. Yes, this is ultimately Mom's fault. If she hadn't tried to fool Molly with fake earrings, Molly wouldn't have acted so Foolishly, brother, you need to comfort her properly. My brother clenched his fists, seemingly holding back something difficult to say, but in the end, he didn't speak. He looked at me. Go get the real earrings. If she wants them, just give them to her. My mother looked at her in disbelief. Are you crazy? Molly refused. If Nicole can wear these earrings, why can't I? Molly, I'm laying it all out here today. If you don't give me those real earrings, I'm going to abort the baby immediately. My mom was torn, and finally, her gaze landed on me. Did you deliberately tell her, you troublemaker, you just want to turn this whole family upside down? If she hadn't harbored those twisted thoughts, would things have escalated to this point? I sat upright on the sofa. Mom, if you really think I'm the one causing trouble, then I'll just move out. You three can be a family, and no one will disturb you. After saying that, I made a move to call my assistant. Seeing this, my mom immediately looked at me with a fawning expression. Why move out? You're living well at home. Mom just spoke too quickly earlier. Don't take it to heart. On one side, her daughter-in-law was going to have an abortion, and on the other, her unlucky daughter wanted to move out. My mom felt like she'd eaten dirt at that moment. Have you made up your mind yet? If you don't take the earrings out soon, I'm really going to have an abortion. Molly pressed on, giving my mother no room to breathe. After a long time, Molly stood up. You're the ones who didn't cherish the opportunity. My brother, who had been holding back for a long time, suddenly stood up and slapped her without warning. If you dare to go and abort the baby today, I'll expose your secret. Molly's face was filled with shock. When did you find out? My brother covered his face in agony. Don't worry about it, but if you dare to hit the child, neither of us will have an easy time. The two of them seemed to be performing a double act, and I, standing by, couldn't understand what they were saying at all. What secret could make Molly, who was always baring her teeth, obediently listen? Mom, I'm sorry. I was too reckless just now. Don't worry. I will definitely give birth to the child, and I don't want the earrings anymore. The change came so quickly that my mother seemed a little overwhelmed, even after everyone had walked far away. Her mouth was still agape. Mom, wake up. Only then did she snap back to reality. The thought of her grandson being safe and her daughter-in-law no longer demanding the earrings made my mother's smile irrepressible. She excitedly grabbed my hand. Nicole, now you can wear those earrings openly. I subtly pulled my hand away, my forced smile uglier than a cry. After that day, my brother and Molly were like changed people. My brother used to cling to her, but now he avoids her as much as possible. And even my mom noticed something was wrong. Nicole, why don't you go ask your sister in law? This can't go on forever. She looked at me worriedly. She had also invested a lot in this relationship. I arrived at their room, and just as I was about to knock, I heard a fierce argument coming from inside. Why do you always wear that sour face? What do I owe you? If you were capable, would the child in your belly need to call someone else dad? My brother's voice sounded somewhat embarrassed. Just because I'm not capable, you go to my brother? Molly, do you have no shame? I immediately widened my eyes. How dare you say that? You're all looks and no substance. If you're not afraid of being embarrassed, go tell your mom. Let's see who ends up worse off. The amount of information in this gossip was overwhelming, and I stumbled downstairs. My mom saw me and quickly pulled me to her side. Nicole, how was it? What did you two talk about? I let out a long breath. Mom, prepare yourself mentally. What I'm about to tell you might be a bit shocking. Seeing how nervous I was, my mom's hand involuntarily trembled. I embellished what I had just overheard outside their room and told her, as I expected. My mother almost choked. It took a long time for her breathing to stabilize. She got up to confront Molly, but I pulled her back into the room. You're crazy. If you go to her like that, how will my brother ever show his face again? She dares to be so arrogant. Isn't it because she's sure my brother would be too embarrassed to tell anyone about this? My mother thought for a long time, and finally, she looked at me with a sinister glint in her eyes. Where are those earrings from before? Give them to me first. I'll use them for a few days and then return them to you. Is she finally going to make a move on Molly? I cheerfully handed her the earrings. Mom, even though Molly made a mistake, she and my brother have been together for so many years. Some feelings are hard to break up. You tell her nicely that she can even have these earrings. Mom didn't say anything. She just took the earrings and walked out. A few days later, Molly came running to me, showing off those earrings. So what if she's your biological daughter? In the end, she still can't compare to an outsider like me. I smiled faintly. Haven't you noticed anything uncomfortable about your body? After hearing what I said, a suspicious expression indeed appeared on her face. I don't know if it's because of the pregnancy, but my movements are getting slower and slower. Just like a 60-year-old woman, I gave my mom, who was still busy In the kitchen, a meaningful look. I had to admit, she had looked much younger lately. Molly looked in my direction, thinking I was jealous of her. She said to me, gloating, "So, how's Auntie been treating me lately? I'll tell you a secret. Auntie has already promised me that as long as I give birth to the child, she'll transfer this house to me." As she spoke, she actually started to laugh. "What are you talking about that's making you so happy?" My mom brought a pot of freshly made soup to the dining table. "Molly, your soup is ready. Come and drink it. Nicole, you try some too." Mom simmered the soup for a long time. I helped Molly walk over, and after seeing the soup clearly, I stood frozen for a long time, and it was exactly the same soup I drank in the basement in my previous life. Back then, every time I drank a bowl of this soup, I could clearly feel my body aging faster. Sure enough, after Molly finished a bowl, a new wrinkle subtly appeared at the corner of her eye, and my mom watched her change, a strange smile playing on her lips. "Nicole, why aren't you drinking?" My mom brought the soup to me, and I nervously swallowed. Just as I was thinking of an excuse, Molly snatched the bowl, soup and all. "Why would she drink it? This is exclusively for the little pregnant lady." Then she drank the entire pot of soup in one go. Mom didn't say anything, just looked at the increasing number of white hairs on her head and couldn't help but smile. "Mom, what are you laughing at?" My mother kindly took her hand. "Your mom can't sleep because she's so happy thinking about holding her grandson." Molly gave me a triumphant look, then clutched her waist with some difficulty. "It's not even that late in the month. How can I be so heavy? Auntie, I'll go back and rest first. I still want to drink the soup you made tonight." After Molly left, my mom suddenly stared at me. "Are you very free lately?" I was stunned. I'm fine. I have a commercial to shoot in a few days." My mom nodded contentedly, then got up and went back to her room. The next morning, I immediately had my assistant pick me up. When Molly came out to see me off, her movements were even slower than last time. If I had to put an age to it, she was probably like a 70-year-old. "Sis, your family has such good genes. Your mom doesn't look old at all, but your sister-in-law, why does she look like an old woman?" It was a problem that outsiders could spot immediately, yet Molly was completely oblivious, still lost in her own fantasy world, unable to wake up. "But that has nothing to do with me. All I need to do now is finish all my work, then go home and watch the show in peace." A month later, I returned home. The first time I saw Molly, I almost threw up. Her shriveled body had a bulging belly, and a few sparse hairs fell from her head, but the earrings on her ears were frighteningly bright. "Mom, Molly is..." My mother indifferently picked her up and continued to feed her soup. "The doctor said the baby in her belly is too active. It's nothing, just bear with it until the baby is born, and everything will be fine." I suppressed my nausea and returned to my room. Later that night, there was a faint knock at the door. When I opened the door, Molly was lying there, gasping for breath. Seeing me, she excitedly tried to stand up, but suddenly lacked the strength to support herself and fell to the ground. In the end, I was the one who dragged her in. "Speak. What do you want with me?" Molly looked at me in terror. "Your mom lied. She didn't take me to the hospital at all. Nicole, please, I'm begging you. Okay, take me to the hospital. I don't want this baby anymore. I can't carry it." I looked at her, not understanding. "Molly, why are you suddenly going to abort the baby again? Hasn't mom been good enough to you? You said you wanted earrings, and she gave them to you without a second thought. You said you felt insecure, and she immediately transferred the house to your name. How can you still be so ungrateful?" She looked at me in horror after hearing my words. "No, it's not like that. If I carry this child any longer, I'll die. Teach this family has problems. I need to leave." She crawled forward in fear, and just as she reached the door, I pulled her back. "You need to learn to be content. You know better than anyone whose child is in your belly. If you really piss off my mom, be careful, or you'll be in big trouble." Molly completely panicked and knelt before me. "Nicole, you all..." "No, I'm sorry. It's my fault. Will you please let me go? I promise, I won't say anything out of turn once I'm out." She fumbled to take off her earrings. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have fought you for it. I'll help you return it. Just let me go." "Okay." I put on a troubled expression. "Even if I agree to let you go, they won't agree." After she finished speaking, my mom and brother emerged from behind me. Molly, as if seeing a ghost, kept backing away. Soon she was cornered, with nowhere left to retreat. My brother looked at her with a sinister smile. "You little bitch, do you really think I can't do anything to you? I was just humoring you before." She humbly kowtowed. "Harry, I'm sorry. I just lost control of myself for a moment. Please let me go, and I'll live a good life with you from now on." My brother kicked her hard in the stomach. "You really think you're a goddess, huh? I have so many young and beautiful women out there. Why would I want an old hag like you? You're dreaming, aren't you?" Because of my brother's kick, a gush of blood flowed from between Molly's legs. Suddenly, a foul odor assailed me. My mom covered her nose. A bitch is a bitch. Even in death she has to torment me one last time. Molly's eyes widened. Auntie, help me. She clutched her stomach in pain. As foul-smelling blood continuously gushed from between her legs, I began to wonder, did the baby in her womb die the moment she put on the earrings? It was late at night by the time the house was cleaned. My mother wrapped her up and told my brother to bury her in the back mountain. The entire house suddenly became eerie. My mother's eyes gleamed, like a wolf staring intently at me. From now on, we're in this together. When I woke up the next day, I found that I was already wearing those earrings. My mother looked at me with satisfaction. My daughter looks good in everything. I agreed with her. You have good taste. For several days, my mother's eyes were practically glued to me, afraid of missing any subtle changes. A week passed, and not only did I not change at all, but I became even more beautiful. My mother was a little scared, but she repeatedly confirmed that the earrings I was wearing were indeed the life-swapping ones. Mom, why are you sitting on the sofa in the middle of the night instead of sleeping? My mother, holding a mirror, slowly turned her head. Nicole, am I getting old? I let out a light chuckle. Mom, have you been replaced? My mother looked at me in a panic. The earrings aren't on you. Who said the ones on my ears were real? At the time, while I was dragging Molly in, I switched the earrings. I switched them back to the fake ones I had before, but their attention was on Molly's stomach, and they didn't even notice that I had swapped the earrings. So, in other words, my mom is now trading lives with that dead Molly, but I'm not wearing the earrings. How could my life be traded? I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Who said they had to be worn on your ears? As long as they're on you, that's all that matters. Hearing my words, my mother frantically rummaged through the clothes. Finally, she found the gleaming earrings in the lining of the clothes. She collapsed onto the sofa. When did you find out? I thought for a moment, arms crossed. I knew in my last life. My mom recoiled in fear. Nicole, Mom knows she was wrong. Can you forgive me if you wear the earrings? Mom really can't take it anymore. She knelt on the ground, kowtowing and begging me. No, I was the only one who could save her. As long as I wore the earrings, my life would be exchanged for hers, and she would immediately be full of life again. It's just a pity that I'm not a fool. It doesn't feel good to have your life swapped, does it? I stood in front of her, my eyes fixed on her. The vendetta for my previous life was now half avenged. What are you doing? How dare you harm my mother? My brother kicked me flying. Seeing this, my mom told my brother to quickly put the earrings on me. The next second, the police broke through the door. You called the police? Of course, I've been ready since the moment Molly died. I had already called the police on my way downstairs. The police took them back to the station, and they were still arrogant during the interrogation, even questioning the police about what crime they had committed. They truly won't shed a tear until they see the coffin. I placed the surveillance video I had organized in front of the police. In the footage, they tormented Molly incessantly, and by the end of the video, my brother finished her off with a kick. I took the police to dig up Molly's body, which was then taken back to the police station for analysis. The results showed that she had been poisoned for a long time. All the evidence pointed to the mother and son having killed Molly. With no other options, she leaned back in her chair and gave up. She thought the police couldn't do anything to her this way. But she was dreaming. I entered the interrogation room again. But this time it wasn't surveillance footage, but a dashcam recording from 10 years ago. My parents' car accident wasn't an accident, it was her, with her black heart, who deliberately tampered with the brake pads, causing my parents to fall from the guardrail, leaving no remains. You never thought all your evil deeds would be exposed one day, did you? I'm telling you, your life is over. I walked out of the police station with a clear conscience, all the hatred accumulated in my previous life vanishing at that moment under the sunlight. Those earrings still gleamed with an eerie light. 3 years later, I lost to a popular young actress and failed to win Best Actress. She walked onto the podium with high spirits, her smile exceptionally dazzling. After the event, I found her backstage. I handed her the earrings. These are for you. After hearing the second story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My niece joined a talent show, and to secure a debut spot, she ate maggots to lose weight, 1 maggot for every pound lost. But she doesn't know, I bred those weight loss maggots. They eat everything inside the human body until only bones are left. I secretly crushed the maggots and helped her with the surgery to repair the damage. Although my niece was left with scars, at least her life was saved. But because of this, she missed her chance to debut and become famous. My sister in-law seized the opportunity to stir up trouble. What's wrong with eating a few maggots? I used to eat them all the time when I was a kid. If she hadn't made such a big deal out of it, you would have been a big star by now. Instead of having such an ugly scar, my niece hated me to the core, throwing me into a wormhole, where I died a slow, agonizing death. When she opened her eyes again, she showed off to me, "This maggot is amazing. I ate 5 and lost 5 pounds, I smiled. It certainly is. I have a way to get it half price. Do you want it? My niece's eyes lit up. At 3 in the morning, I was awakened by a knocking sound. I followed the sound to the bathroom and smelled a strong scent of blood. Auntie, my stomach hurts so much. Please take me to the hospital quickly. My niece sat on the toilet, clutching her stomach, and the wastebasket was bright red. Her face was pale, and she desperately pleaded with me, clutching my hand. In my previous life, she had begged me the same way. At first, I thought she had eaten something bad. Until I found worm eggs in her feces. They were the eggs of flesh-eating maggots. These maggots eat everything. Each worm can consume 1 pound of flesh per day. Given her current blood loss, it indicates that the maggots have burrowed through her intestines and into her anus, devouring the perianal area. I immediately performed surgery on my niece, saving her life, but she missed the competition and her chance to debut. My sister-in-law was displeased that I performed surgery on my niece without her consent and demanded that I cover all expenses. She also took the opportunity to instigate, "What's the big deal about eating a few maggots? There are a lot of these in the countryside. We used to eat them all the time when we were kids. She's just making a fuss. I've already talked to the director. As long as you participate in the competition, you can debut. It's all your aunt's fault. She made you miss the chance to become famous. She's not doing it for your own good. She's clearly harming you." My niece was originally very grateful to me, but after her instigation, she started to hate me. During a family trip, she pretended to fall into a wormhole. When I went down to rescue her, she cut my safety rope. "It's all your fault for operating on me, otherwise I would have been a big star by now. Now I have an extra scar on my body. How can I be a star in the future? If you won't let me eat maggots to lose weight, I'll let you taste what it's like to be bitten to death by bugs." My niece, full of hatred, blocked my only escape route. I watched helplessly as tens of thousands of venomous insects crawled towards me, burrowing into my body through every opening. Because I wasn't married, all my inheritance went to my parents after I died. What chilled me to the bone was that my biological parents actually gave all the money I had worked so hard to earn to my elder brother and his wife, Lily. "Your brother is my only son. When I die, this money will go to him anyway. You don't mind, do you?" My brother had originally blamed his wife for my death, but when he heard that all my inheritance went to him after I died, he immediately turned his sorrow into joy, even thinking that my death was a good thing. She actually secretly saved hundreds of thousands. The last time I asked her for a down payment when I bought a house, she lied to me and said she had no money, wouldn't even help her own brother. Heartless, my sister-in-law chimed in. "Exactly, if she hadn't died, would you have gotten this money? With your sister's stingy ways, you're actually getting angry at me for her." My brother lovingly pulled my sister-in-law into his arms. "You're still the smart one, tricking her into going on a wilderness adventure. Her death was just an accident. This is the family I've given my heart to. Unfortunately, I didn't see their true colors until I died, coming back to my senses." My niece was crying and begging me to take her to the hospital. This time I didn't fall for it and knocked on my brother and sister-in-law's bedroom door. "Sister-in-law, Nina seems to have eaten something bad. She's bleeding a lot. Should we take her to the hospital?" My sister-in-law, woken up and in a bad mood, half asleep, glanced at the toilet. "Why go to the hospital in the middle of the night? It's just a ruptured hemorrhoid. No need to make a fuss." My niece didn't believe it and looked at me, asking, "Really?" I took her hand and pretended to be relaxed as I comforted her. "What your mom said must be true. She wouldn't harm you. If you're really worried, you can go to the hospital, but with that much bleeding, you'll probably need surgery to remove the hemorrhoids." The niece nodded repeatedly, but before she could even pull up her pants, her sister-in-law pushed her back onto the toilet. "Tomorrow morning you have to go to the show to participate in the last cycle of recording, which is related to the final debut spot. The director said that as long as you go on stage, you'll definitely debut. Don't cause trouble for me at a time like this." My niece pouted, not daring to disobey. My sister-in-law comforted her. "Good girl, if you need to go to the hospital, you can go after the competition. It's not a serious illness. A few days won't make a difference." I followed up, persuading, "Your mom is right. She spent a lot of money to get you started, so just listen to her." My sister-in-law was very pleased with my performance. Little did she know, by the time her daughter returned from filming, she probably wouldn't need treatment. She'd be ready for a funeral. My sister-in-law asked me for 2 hemostatic pills and checked the time. "You shouldn't sleep either. Get ready and head out to catch the bus. Oh, and when you join the show, eat less. The haters say you're too fat to be an idol. We'll lose weight and debut, and really show those haters." Nina nodded reluctantly. I hid to the side, chuckling. "You don't eat, but the maggots in your stomach won't starve themselves. With nothing else to eat, they'll naturally start consuming the host's body. This time, it was your mom who wouldn't let you go to the hospital, so if anything happens, you can't blame me. The next morning, just as I was leaving for work, my brother Sam stopped me. Lily, go to the show's production team and pick up Nina immediately. She's hemorrhaging badly and fainted on stage. It turned out the production team called him, asking him to pick Nina up and bring her home. He wouldn't go himself, so he sent me. I looked at my watch, feeling helpless. Bro, I have to go to work. You go pick her up yourself. Sam yelled at me. Is work more important, or your niece's life? Can't you just take a day off? I'm speechless. They were Nina's parents, yet every time something happened to their daughter, they always called me to handle it. Even Nina herself, when something was wrong, wouldn't call her parents. Instead, she'd ask me to take her to the hospital. They always said we were family and should help each other out, but for all these years, I've been helping them. When have they ever helped me? Sam blocked the door, insisting I bring Nina back. The argument woke my sister-in-law. Just as she was about to scold me, I feigned compromise. I can go pick up Nina, but then she won't be able to participate in her recordings for the next few days. You'll have to ask my sister-in-law to get her an excused absence. As soon as my sister-in-law heard about an excused absence, she refused. What leave? She just doesn't want to endure hardship and makes excuses. She pulled a stunt last night. What leave does she need for something that 2 hemostatic pills can fix? My brother looked bewildered. What happened last night? My sister-in-law slapped him away. You sleep like a pig. What do you know? Your daughter just has a ruptured hemorrhoid, and you're all making a fuss. I've spent so much money on her education. If she misses this opportunity, she'll have to wait another year. Next year she'll be 19. An old maid. The entertainment industry is all about youth. Who would want you if you're not in your prime? After speaking, she called the production team and asked them to give Nina a hemostatic drug. She also warned Nina to make sure she lasted until the end of the recording, or she would have to die on stage. Nina had no choice but to take half a bottle of hemostatic medicine and force herself onto the stage. After she finished dancing, she fainted on the spot. Blood flowed from her skirt like a waterfall, staining her legs as red as maple leaves. This chaotic scene was seized upon by the production team as a publicity stunt, heavily promoted on the front page. Some sharp-eyed netizens noticed that when Nina fainted, her skirt seemed to bulge as if she had a juju penis. Suspecting she was transgender, only I knew that wasn't a juju piggy. It was her prolapsed rectum that had fallen out and gotten stuck in her pocket. My sister-in-law was still urging everyone in the family group to vote for Nina, but when she saw her daughter bleeding profusely, she fainted on the spot. By the time I arrived at the production set, Nina had already lost consciousness. Her entire face was as white as paper, and even her breathing was very faint, but she still wiggled her butt from time to time, and with each wiggle, blood would ooze out, a bizarre and terrifying sight. At this point, I'm afraid the maggots have already burrowed into her brain, controlling her nerves. My sister-in-law came to her senses and quickly asked me to take my niece to the hospital, but she was also afraid that a large hospital would admit Nina, which would delay the upcoming recording. He then told me to take the person to the next village to see a local doctor. That local doctor was famous for identifying the gender of fetuses. It was said that if he said it was a boy, it would be a boy, and his predictions were incredibly accurate. My sister-in-law always believed that if she had let the local doctor examine her when she was pregnant, she wouldn't have given birth to a daughter. Actually, that doctor told everyone he guaranteed a boy, and if it was a girl, he would give a full refund. That's why no one ever caused trouble over the years. His sister-in-law took his niece, Nina, to find him. He put on his reading glasses, looked at Nina, and said, "It's a boy." His sister-in-law was stunned, exclaiming that he had made a mistake. "My daughter isn't pregnant, she's been having bloody stools these past few days. Could you tell me what's causing it?" I thought he was about to be exposed, but the old man took off his glasses, carefully examined Nina's belly, and didn't bat an eye. "I can't be mistaken, it's a boy," he explained. "Your daughter will have a son in the future. This son came to her womb early to check out the environment. Your daughter is still young and can't withstand the bleeding, which is normal. She'll be fine once he leaves." I was shocked. The master is indeed a master. Even knowing that Nina has a son in her womb, unfortunately, it's not her having a son, it's the maggots in her belly having sons. They might have already given birth to dozens of them. My sister-in-law's questioning look vanished the moment she heard Nina could have a son, as expected, as long as it's related to continuing the family line. No matter how outrageous the claims, someone will believe them. The quack doctor brought a packet of powder and fed it to Nina, claiming it could ward off evil spirits. He then chanted a few incantations at her, telling the son not to bother his mother and to leave quickly. After half an hour of exorcism, the person actually woke up. My sister-in-law repeatedly knelt and thanked the master. I specifically tasted some of the powder. It was just rock sugar mixed with deworming medicine. It wouldn't cause any harm or be of much use, however. Nina's prolonged dieting led to a lack of glucose in her body, and supplementing sugar could quickly restore her energy. While the deworming medicine happened to inhibit the reproduction of maggots in her body, when Nina woke up, she didn't look at her mother, but instead gazed at me pitifully. "Auntie, if I eat maggots, will I die?" My sister-in-law quickly answered, "How could eating a few maggots kill you? Who in the countryside hasn't eaten a few maggots? At most, you'll have a stomach ache for a few days, but you'll be fine." Seeing me nod, Nina finally relaxed. When her sister-in-law saw she was better, she sent her back again. In the following days, Nina really didn't bleed, and her appetite increased significantly, eating enough for 10 people by herself. The key was that she only ate and didn't gain weight. Instead, she became increasingly thin, dropping from 170 centimeters to just over 60 pounds. Her sister-in-law would praise her daughter to everyone, saying she had a naturally thin physique, never gained weight no matter how much she ate, and was born to be an idol, binge eating but getting thinner and thinner. That's not a fast metabolism, that's a sickness. Go ahead and brag. You'll be even happier when your daughter is nothing but skin and bones. The day before the group formation night, Nina called her mother. "Mom, I really can't take it anymore. The medicine isn't working. Please take me to the hospital." The herbalist's medicine only worked for 3 days. After that, my stomach hurt even more, accompanied by nausea and dry heaving. This was because the flesh-eating maggots had developed resistance and, after consuming a large amount of sugar from the medicine powder, had grown longer and stronger. With her debut just around the corner, my sister-in-law naturally wouldn't give up easily. "The finals are tomorrow. Don't cause trouble at a time like this. If one packet of medicine isn't enough, take a few more." "But Mom, I'm really hurting." "Hurting? What's hurting? Can it hurt more than giving birth to you? I've spent so much money to get you debuted. You have to perform. Tomorrow, after you're off stage, you can do whatever you want." Nina fell silent. After a strange noise, the call disconnected. My sister-in-law also complained, "Kids these days are just too delicate. They cry and fuss over the smallest things. They can't handle any hardship." She took my hand and said, "Lily, you're coming with me tomorrow to be part of Nina's support group, so she doesn't pull any more stunts." On the night of the group formation, my sister-in-law created a group chat with over 100 relatives and friends from her contact list and had them watch the live broadcast. All the trainees' family and friends were present to support their respective contestants. My sister-in-law was full of confidence, believing her daughter would definitely debut. She even gloated when she saw the worried expressions on the faces of other families and friends. These people clearly don't want to spend money. They just pay lip service to supporting their children's dreams. I'm a much more dedicated mother. I secured a spot long ago. No one spoke in the group chat. My best friend messaged me privately, "What's wrong with your sister-in-law? Going crazy in the middle of the night. How can she just blurt out things like internal selection? Is there something wrong with her?" I smiled without a word, guessing that many in the group thought the same. My sister-in-law was still gloating, thinking she was really awesome. The curtain opened on stage, and she excitedly shouted, "My daughter is out." I looked up and saw the emaciated Nina slowly walk onto the stage. The elders in the group all felt something was wrong. "Second aunt, why is Nina so thin? Is she sick?" My sister-in-law's face immediately darkened, and she started typing furiously on her phone. "You don't understand. This is a standard girl group figure. The camera makes people look bigger. We might look thin, but on screen, she's the most striking." "Second aunt, but she can't be that thin. She looks malnourished. Let's hope she doesn't faint again." "You're the one who's dizzy," my sister-in-law spat, typing quickly. "Don't worry, Auntie, Nina is in great health. I make sure the production team strictly follows her nutrition plan for all 3 meals. She's very well taken care of. It's no wonder you're worried. Your granddaughter almost danced her legs off and still got eliminated, unlike our Nina, who can debut even if she faints." Second aunt was furious and immediately left the group. Sister-in-law was smug. The performance began. Nina stood by, unable to even hold her opening pose steady, but my sister-in-law was still concerned about her position. "Why isn't Nina in the center? She's ranked highest in this group. How did the director arrange this? I'm going to complain to him." I'm speechless. To still be concerned about rankings at a time like this, she really is impervious to reason. As the music started, Nina posed and turned her head. The next second, she gasped and vomited a 20 cm long pink maggot, which slowly crawled across The stage, everyone screamed and ran in all directions, and the scene immediately descended into chaos. The director quickly called a halt, but no one dared to approach the stage. Nina fell into the yellow water, reeking of a foul odor. Suddenly, she stood up, half a maggot still in her mouth, looking around like a puppet. Why did the music stop? I can still dance. The director wouldn't dare let her continue and quickly had people drag her away. Seeing the performance being stopped, my sister-in-law panicked and rushed forward. I followed behind her, taking advantage of the chaos to retrieve the flesh-eating maggots. My sister-in-law leaped onto the stage, spreading her arms to block the staff. Who dares to kick my daughter off the stage? Didn't you hear her say she can still dance? She can debut if she just dances, so make her dance. When Nina was being sent to the emergency room, my sister-in-law was still blocking her from going to the hospital, insisting that she finish her last dance. The production team had no choice but to call my brother, Sam. Sam immediately came up and tried to slap me. How did you take care of Nina? How did she end up like this? I had expected him to react this way and skillfully dodged. In my previous life, I had just finished Nina's surgery. Sam, instead of thanking me for saving his daughter's life, immediately slapped me. Nina is competing in the finals tomorrow, and you chose to operate on her today. Are you intentionally trying to ruin her dream? I explained repeatedly that the maggots inside Nina had already eaten away most of her stomach, and if we waited until tomorrow for the surgery, her stomach would be empty. My brother, Sam, wouldn't listen, saying I was just creating anxiety. Later, he pretended to apologize to me and took me on a trip to mend our relationship. I even thought he would at least have some sibling affection for me, but after I fell into the wormhole, he was the first to think of sealing the entrance, to prevent me from climbing out and telling on him to Mom and Dad. I cried out from below, "Brother, aren't we family?" He said coldly, "Your sister-in-law and I are family. You'll be part of someone else's family sooner or later." I just found out that the home I grew up in was never truly mine from the beginning. Even though I covered all the expenses for this home, I was still just an outsider. I pretended not to know. My sister-in-law said Nina just had a ruptured hemorrhoid and even took her to a folk doctor, who knew she'd throw up worms. As soon as Sam heard this, he pointed at his sister-in-law's nose and cursed, "What kind of mother are you? What happened to Nina?" His sister-in-law refused to admit her negligence and argued stubbornly, "The production team must have given her something bad to eat. I know my daughter's health better than anyone. They didn't even give us the center spot on stage just now. Someone must have deliberately sabotaged her to prevent her from debuting." The more she analyzed it, the more sense it made, and she decided to go to the production team to assert her rights. "I've spent so much money, Nina must debut this time, even if she hasn't finished performing." The two of them declared fiercely that they would support their daughter, yet not a single person signed. Enough. Nina curled up in pain on the hospital bed, her eyes red as she looked at her mother, filled with tears and hatred. "The doctor said my stomach has been eaten hollow by worms. Even my uterus is gone. What's the point of a debut spot now?" Her sister-in-law was stunned. "How could this happen? Didn't the quack doctor say your son was coming early to check out the environment? How could your uterus be gone? Can you still have a son then?" Nina was also stunned. She never expected that at a time like this, her mother's concern would be her inability to bear a son. After a while, her sister-in-law suddenly pulled Nina up from the hospital bed in a hurry. "Quick, come back to the stage with me. Your future is already hopeless. You can't let your career be ruined too. Don't be afraid. As long as you perform on stage, you can debut, and once you debut, you can become a star and make a lot of money. With money, any illness can be cured. Come with me." She frantically pulled Nina's arm. The next second, my brother rushed over and slapped her hard. "Wake up." My sister-in-law was slapped by my brother, thrown against the wall, hit the corner, and passed out. Nina lost her balance and fell to her knees in front of me, pleading desperately, "Auntie, please save me. Only you can save me now." In the ward, only Nina and I remained. By then, her face was gaunt, and her abdomen was as thin as paper. Her stomach was completely empty, barely sustained by maggots that had replaced her digestive organs. Seeing that I didn't respond, Nina gripped my hand, tears streaming down her face. "Auntie, you love me the most. Every time I had a stomach ache in the middle of the night, you took me to the hospital. You can't abandon me this time." It turns out she also knew I loved her the most. When Nina was little, she had a sensitive stomach and often ate something bad, ending up in the hospital in the middle of the night. My brother, using the excuse that he needed to be fresh for work the next day, handed Nina over to me, saying I worked at the hospital anyway, so I could just take her there to sleep. My sister-in-law, even more so, felt her sleep was important and didn't even get up. I took Nina to the hospital again and again, facing the night and sunrise. But what did she do? She's 18 years old, yet she lacks the ability to think for herself. A few words from her mother were enough to harm me, her aunt, who loved her the most. How can I feel sympathy for such a person? Moreover, at this point, Nina is beyond my help. The carnivorous maggots only leave the host after the eggs hatch. To avoid competing with their offspring for food and limiting their growth, the carnivorous maggots remaining in her body have become symbiotic with her, but one day, she will die because her internal organs will be eaten away. I pulled Nina's hand away. It's too late. She slumped to the ground, her legs giving out, and she kept talking. How could this happen? I knelt down and gently comforted her. Don't panic. Maybe your mom has a solution. She's your biological mother. Would she really harm you? Nina's eyes widened, but she couldn't utter a single word. Leaving the ward, I brushed past my sister-in-law. Subsequently, a fierce argument erupted in the ward. Nina blamed her sister-in-law for only caring about her debut, letting the illness drag on to an irreversible point. My sister-in-law defended herself, saying she did it all for my own good, blaming the quack doctor and the show's production team, listening to them complain and blame each other. I felt nothing. Do whatever you want. I won't meddle this time. I had just gotten off work when my sister-in-law suddenly burst into my office. Lily, only you can save Nina now. I explained repeatedly that Nina's condition could no longer be fixed with a few surgeries. My sister-in-law interrupted me. I'm not asking you to operate on her. I'm asking you to give her an organ transplant. I asked on Baidu, and they said that as long as all the organs Nina had damaged by insects were replaced, she would recover. Your hospital has unused stomachs, intestines, and uteruses. Get them and replace Nina's. I was stunned. Can a carbon-based life form even say something like that? Is the hospital a wet market where pig intestines are sold by the pound? Leaving aside the strict regulations hospitals have regarding organ transplants, even if one could find so many organs, considering a series of issues like matching and rejection, the success rate would be negligible. Sister-in-law, your method is great. Why don't you just shoot me? What do you mean? Are you refusing to help? Seeing her self-righteous demeanor, I couldn't help but laugh in anger. The hospital isn't yours to run. You can't just demand whatever you want. Why don't you go buy a gun at the police station? My sister-in-law's face immediately darkened, and her words became increasingly aggressive. Nina is your own niece. She's practically dying, and you're still making sarcastic remarks. Where's your conscience? At this moment, the family of a patient undergoing a heart transplant came to see me. My sister-in-law became even angrier. You're willing to give him a new heart, but not your own niece. Don't be too much, I said sternly. They waited 4 months for a suitable heart. If you want one, you can, but you'll have to wait in line. Patients who reach the stage of organ transplantation are all very seriously ill. Your daughter's current condition means a transplant would be meaningless. It's purely because you delayed. When my sister-in-law realized it was a lost cause, she immediately blocked the doorway, looking exactly like a medical dispute instigator. If you don't change Nina, you can't change anyone else either. I'm blocking this spot today, and no one is getting changed. She's a patient, and I'm a doctor. As long as we're in the hospital, I can't retaliate, but just because I can't do anything about her doesn't mean no one else can either. The next second, my sister-in-law was kicked out. The patient's family member pointed at her nose and cursed. Don't cause trouble here with Dr. You. If anything happens to my grandpa during his surgery tomorrow, I'll make your whole family pay. No need for the whole family, just her. My sister-in-law's misdeeds quickly spread among the patients. They were afraid it would affect their surgery, so they complained to the hospital, and that's how I got a few days of peace to prevent my sister-in-law from finding her home. I found a rental apartment and moved out of the house where I grew up. A few more days passed, and Nina was discharged from the hospital. Discharged meant she was sent home to wait for death. One day, my mom called me. Lily, come back for Nina's birthday. This might be her last. As soon as I entered, my brother and sister-in-law helped me with my bag and made me tea. Lily, why did you move out? Your brother and I aren't used to you not being here. Yes, we're family, so we should live together. Don't go back tonight. This familiar warmth, it's exactly like when I told Sam I wanted him to take me traveling. My heart skipped a beat. The candles were blown out, and the feast officially began. My sister-in-law poured me a glass of wine. Immediately after, Sam stood up. Lily, last time your sister-in-law was out of line. I'll apologize to you on her behalf. After saying that, he downed his drink and looked at me, holding an empty glass. My sister-in-law urged me to drink. I picked up my glass and exchanged smiles with them. It's truly hilarious that they thought they could drug me. A doctor. Is that clinic you mentioned any good? Don't tell me it's another scam. The Speaker was my brother, Sam. My sister-in-law said, "Don't worry, I've already asked around. For 100000, she can get a full organ transplant. I've checked Lily's blood type. It's A, just like our Nina's, so there'll be no problem." Sam still felt a pang of reluctance. No matter what, she's still my own sister. If we were to switch, wouldn't that be taking her life? My sister-in-law is heartless. Which is more important, your sister or your daughter? She's going to get married eventually, and once she's married, she'll be part of another family. What does that have to do with you? When we're old, we'll have to rely on our daughter to take care of us. Are we going to rely on your sister? Sam stopped talking. The two of them worked together to get me into the car. After a bumpy ride, we reached our destination. Sister-in-law, I've already given you the money. If my daughter doesn't get better, I'm not done with you. There was an unfamiliar voice, sounding like a doctor. Don't worry. We are a legitimate clinic, absolutely foolproof. I was pushed into the room, and a musty smell assailed my nostrils. The unscrupulous doctor was holding an unsterilized scalpel, gesturing at my stomach. I opened my eyes and sat up. The next second, he shrieked and was caught by the police on the spot. When I walked out of the room, my sister-in-law was stopping the police from leaving. "Don't arrest him. My daughter is still waiting for him to save her life." The police looked at her as if she were an idiot. He's suspected of practicing medicine without a license and illegally trading human organs. Who are you to him? My sister-in-law instantly fell silent when she heard about the doctor's illegal activities. My brother was smarter. He said they were with me, fishing and catching illegal clinics. My sister-in-law quickly changed her tune, recounting the entire incident vividly, but even so, they still had to go to the police station to give a statement. After the police took the person away, my sister-in-law pounced on me and grabbed my collar. "You called the police. You actually faked fainting to trick us. Nina is your niece, and Sam is your brother. How could you call the police on them?" My sister-in-law, as expected, didn't disappoint me. No matter what, she'd always blame me and never herself. I pushed her away and chuckled. "You should thank me. If I hadn't called the police, I'd be the first to die, and your daughter would be the second. If you don't believe me, you can ask how many people that illegal clinic killed." When you give your statement later, my sister-in-law didn't want to believe it, but she had no choice but to. She knew very well that such illegal clinics were useless, but when people were desperate, no matter how absurd the method, as long as it could save a life, they would want to try it. After the police took the person away, her last hope was also shattered. My sister-in-law was sentenced for her alleged involvement in human organ trafficking, but because she is a family member and the attempt was unsuccessful, the circumstances were deemed less severe, and her sentence was commuted to probation. My brother lost his job, and the three of them are stuck at home, unable to go anywhere. With the official announcement of the debut lineup, Nina's dream of becoming a star was completely shattered. She lay in bed all day, like a zombie, only eating. Her belly was distended by the grown maggots, and their wriggling could be faintly seen through her skin. I timed it right and went to the family to retrieve the carnivorous maggots. Nina was eaten until only a husk remained, and she asked me with empty eyes, "Auntie, how did I end up like this? I still want to go on stage and dance, be a star, wear beautiful makeup. How did I end up like this?" My mom only said eating that stuff would help me lose weight. She never said it would kill me. She looked out the window and sighed. "If I had let you operate on me sooner, our family would surely be very happy now." I sighed too. They are indeed very happy. I'm the one who died, but people always have to be responsible for their actions. I won't sympathize with her just because she's a victim, because she was once an abuser too. As night fell, Nina gradually became distressed. Her stomach began to heave violently, like ocean waves. It was a sign that the carnivorous maggots were about to leave their host. With a terrible retching sound, one maggot after another crawled out of Nina's mouth. The last maggot surfaced, and she swallowed it. Then, she bolted out of the room and into her sister-in-law's bedroom. Her sister-in-law woke up, instinctively asking what was wrong. Nina suddenly pressed her face against hers, smiling eerily. "Mom, you're too fat, you should lose some weight." The next second, she opened her mouth. A maggot fell into my sister-in-law's mouth. A piercing scream echoed through the night. 6 months later, a special patient arrived at our hospital, emaciated. All her organs had been consumed, leaving only her heart. It was said she had committed suicide by jumping into a river. When she was brought in, her body was covered in maggots. The teacher from the research institute and I looked at each